Is it ethical to ask to be Oh, it's definitely ethical. So you're thinking about quitting your job. Well, before you make any big decisions, let's talk about it. Trust me, there's a lot to think about before you hand in that resignation letter, and there's one thing you probably even haven't considered. I want to tell you why quitting might be a really bad move, and what you can do instead to leave in the best possible way. You know, when you're just totally over your job, you feel stuck, maybe like nobody appreciates you, and quitting sounds like the perfect solution. I get it, I was the same at many points in my life. Waking up to the sound of an alarm clock is something I hated the most. That's why I'm so glad I haven't heard that dreaded noise for the last 5 years of my life. But here's the problem. If you quit, you're living with nothing. Zilch, zero. There's actually a much better and smarter way to do it, and it could help you financially for a while. Let's talk about how you can leave your job with not just your pride, but also some money to help with your next steps. So here's the idea. Instead of just quitting, try to get laid off. I know it sounds a little strange, but hear me out because I did it before. If you quit, you walk away with nothing, no severance pay, no benefits. But if you get laid off, you could get a severance package and even some extra perks like unemployment benefits. But first, here's how to do it smart. Let your boss know you're not happy. This doesn't mean you should go in and start yelling, but instead have an honest conversation. Talk to HR or your boss and say something like, "I'm really not happy here and I'd like some changes." Sometimes they might actually try to make things better for you, maybe a raise, more flexible hours, or something else. And if they can't help you, that's when you start hinting that maybe getting laid off would be the best option. Another important thing is to offer to help with the transition. You could say, "I'm willing to stay and train the person who takes my place, just to make sure everything goes smoothly." In return, could we talk about the severance package? I can already see gears spinning in your mind, so stick till the end because I'll answer some additional questions about this whole shebang. The conversation you have with your boss shows you're being fair and that you still care about the company even if you want to leave. Most bosses will appreciate that and they might be more willing to help you out. If that doesn't work out, you can always ask if there are any upcoming layoffs and see if you can be part of them. There's also a law called the WARN Act, which says that companies with over 100 employees usually have to give 60 days notice before they do big layoffs. If they don't, they have to pay compensation. You can use this law to your advantage and try to get more than just the minimum, maybe 1 to 3 weeks of pay for every year you work there. Here's why getting laid off is better than quitting. You get unemployment benefits, maybe extra pay, and even help with healthcare. It's more than just a severance check, it's about giving yourself some time and money while you figure out what you want to do next. So next time you feel like quitting, think twice. There's a smarter way to leave, and it could really help you out in the long run. You deserve to get the most out of all your hard work, even as you're leaving the job. So what if my boss says no to letting me get laid off? Don't panic. It's still worth having the conversation because it shows that you're serious about leaving. At the very least, it may push them to make some changes to keep you. If that doesn't work, you could also look for another job while staying in your current position to make sure you leave on better terms. Can everyone use this strategy? No, not everyone will be in the perfect position to negotiate a layoff. It works best if you have a good relationship with your employer or if your role is one that would need a transition period. If you're in an at-will job where employees are easily replaced, this strategy might be harder to pull off. However, it's always worth trying to leave on the best terms possible. How do I know if my company is planning layoffs? Sometimes companies drop hints like budget cuts or restructuring announcements that layoffs might be coming. You can also ask your manager if they know of any upcoming changes. And if you sense layoffs are likely, it might be the perfect time to ask if you can be included in them. What if I need to leave urgently? If you need to leave urgently, negotiating a layoff might not be an option, since it can take some time to arrange. In that case, make sure to still try to get as much as you can, like unpaid vacation days or any benefits you're entitled to. Even if you have to quit quickly, try to leave with something rather than nothing. Is it ethical to ask to be laid off? Oh, it's definitely ethical if you're being honest about your reasons and are willing to help make the transition smooth. Companies often lay off employees when it suits them, so there's no harm in asking for the same treatment if you're ready to move on. Just be transparent and make sure your request doesn't put your employer in a tough spot. And finally, will this be a red flag on my CV? Look, this could be a concern for some employers. If there's a gap on your CV, or if they notice that you were part of a layoff, they might ask about it. The key is to be honest but positive. You can frame it as a strategic decision to move on when the time is right, or as part of a larger restructuring at your previous company. Focus on what you accomplished in your role and what you learned during that time. Now, if you found this video helpful, please drop a like and subscribe for more content.